As I mentioned, Victorian Treasurer Jacqueline Symes, a lawyer turned advisor, flew to New York on Wednesday. She's there to defend Victoria's AA credit rating with the agencies, amid warnings that it could be downgraded further. That would be a disaster. Victoria's debt is on track to reach a record $194 billion by 2029. Despite this, it's been revealed that the Victorian Treasury officials, you will not believe this, in a parliamentary inquiry during the week, had not even conducted any modelling, none, on what another downgrade by those agencies would mean for the state. That's not just insane, it's irresponsible. I mean, joining me now is Victoria's Shadow Treasurer James Newbury. Good to catch up with you, James. I hope you don't mind me querying the lawyer path into politics, but it does annoy me.
Well, I also worked in the financial services industry for a number of years before being elected. So don't count me out because I am an admitted lawyer, but I've also worked in the financial services industry for several years.
And you did work for two giants of the Liberal Party in Tony Abbott and my old mate Joe Hockey. I mean, you are very experienced if you worked in the office with those two.
I think I'm the only Liberal who's run a parliament federally and at a state level for the Liberal Party. So I don't know if that gives me credit points or makes me a big parliamentary nerd.
Well, it gives you more of a reason to be in front of the ratings agencies in New York than Jacqueline Symes. Could you believe that parliamentary inquiry during the week where the Treasury person in that room, when asked what modelling they'd done if the credit rating is downgraded, James, said we've done none?
Do you know what it tells me? It tells me they didn't want to know. I don't think it was by accident. I think they didn't want to know because they're predicting a phony surplus of 600 million, and if they get a downgrade, it's going to cost us another 300 million in interest payments. So I don't think they want it modelled. I don't think they want to tell the public what that downgrade will cost, and I think the Treasurer is off to New York on our dime to beg not to be downgraded.
What's your reading with your economic background of what the agencies might or might not do? I mean, we're at AA now. Is any other, there'd be no other state in Australia on a lower rating than that, would there?
I think on every single measure, we're doing the worst. I mean, you were talking about Tasmania before, and I heard them this week saying, you know, the government's on a $7 billion debt. Well, ours is nearly 200 billion. And South Australia's had a debate this week about a $50 billion debt. And I'm not saying that debt is good at that level at all. What I'm saying is Victoria's the basket case. I mean, it is absolutely the basket case. You know, if you were a credit rating agencies, wouldn't you be looking at this state and saying, gee, where do I start with a red pen? You know, debt's bad, spending's bad, size of government's bad, interest rates are costing us $1.2 million an hour on that debt. An hour. So in your show, we're all paying $1.2 million in Victoria in interest. It's almost, I mean, it's just outrageous.
Well, it's almost hard to believe. I mean, explain for our national audience, are any of the mega infrastructure projects in Victoria on time or on budget?
Sorry, what? Something on time and on budget? I don't think I've seen something on time and on budget in a decade. We are currently $50 billion over in blowouts on infrastructure projects. So the entire state debt of South Australia just in blowouts on infrastructure projects. This government has made a practice of never delivering something on time and on budget. They never will. But the scary thing is we have this giant ticking debt bomb now because of it. And the interest payments in a couple of years' time will mean that 10% of our state budget will be going just to interest. So instead of doing things we need, some of the decisions that a normal government could make won't be able to be made because 10% of the budget's going to be spent on interest.
18 months or so to an election. I wonder if you've thought about this. Can you see that, look, you've got Canberra and a Labor government with a massive majority. You reckon that they might be thinking about bailing Victoria out between now and November later in next year?
Well, they did. So in the recent GST payment agreement for next year, Victoria is getting $3.7 billion more. Now, the federal government didn't call it a bailout, but it is a bailout. So what's happened is Victoria's taxed people so much and spent so much that they can't afford to operate anymore. So we're now taking some of the money, for your national viewers, from your pockets. Our government is taking some of the taxes that your governments are charging you and bringing it into Victoria because this government's so completely hopeless. So that GST extra payment is actually money from other state residents through tax. It's so wrong, and it basically means we've become a welfare state.
James, just briefly before you go, reports in the Herald Sun today suggesting former leader John Pasuto from the LIBS close to negotiating a loan, maybe for over $1 million, to pay Maura Deeming's legal fees. Is that what you're hearing?
Look, we just want to make sure this issue is resolved. We want to get it resolved as quickly as possible, and hopefully it will be, because at the end of the day, we've got to be focusing on this government. I'm working 7 days a week to hold the government to account. I mean, what they're doing to us in this state is just outrageous. It's nationally bad. You know, I mean, we are frankly a joke by comparison on the economics to every other state. I mean, we're taking money from other residents of other states. So as soon as that issue is resolved, that'll be great. But every day of the week, I'm focusing on holding the government to account.
Just one thing, I can't resist asking you about this. The latest budget papers show that the Victorian Labor government is going to spend $81 million in the current budget on economic and policy advice. I note that one of the bank economists offers to do it for nothing. I mean, what the hell is the public service being paid for if we're spending $81 million on advisors from outside the public service?
Well, that basically means the government's hiring an executive on 220 grand a day by equivalent, if you break it down. Now, what it also tells you is for 81 million, I don't think we're getting very good advice, because the government doesn't seem to be getting any better, does it? So what's this $81 million going towards?
Oh, God, you just made my Friday. Thank you, James. Catch you again soon. James Newbury there, talking sense in regard to Victoria's finances. It is just breathtaking, I've got to say.